everybody. Welcome to episode 79 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter. You can find the podcast on Ravelry if you search for Driftless Knitting under the groups tab. Not gonna lie, there is not a lot of activity there whatsoever. We're not doing any knit-alongs right now. I hardly ever do show notes. I always say maybe this week will be different. And then it's never different, so apologies for that. But if you are curious, there is a group for the podcast, and there is a thread in there for general chatter or questions or whatever. I also want to add to my little spiel now that you, in the beginning of the podcast, that is, that you can also find my knitwear designs on Ravelry if you search for Jennifer Rundhog, which is my full name. My designs are under my full name and not under like Driftless Knitter or anything like that, although you could find them, like if you search my username on Ravelry, you can then find my my designs there as well. So I have a few out. I will be talking about one that just came out over the weekend in just a little bit, and kind of give you a glimpse into a couple more that are on the way in a sense. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, it is Monday, April 29th. I had to think about that for a second. It is April 29th, and I'm coming to you from Cross Plains, Wisconsin, which is just outside of Madison. It is kind of chilly today. It's very overcast, and maybe, I think we're only supposed to hit about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. And yeah, yesterday was chilly as well, and the day before that we had a snowstorm. So that was fun. It's been an interesting spring. It's pretty normal though for this area to get snow in April and sometimes even early May, which is crazy. But yeah, Wisconsin, Midwest weather. I shouldn't just say Wisconsin because I know Minnesota's gotten hit with a couple of storms that we haven't gotten recently, and Illinois was also hit with this snow, probably Iowa too, parts of Iowa, but anyway, that doesn't matter. The Midwest is just, it can be a little crazy and unpredictable at times, so yeah. Otherwise, I had a good weekend. I was supposed to go to a family get-together on Saturday, but with the snow and the unpredictable driving conditions, we had to cancel that, unfortunately. That is why if you're a customer at Knit Circus Yarns, which is where I work in Madison, I was not there for LYS Day, which was this past Saturday, April 27th. And I wasn't there because I had this big family gathering planned before I kind of even realized that it was LYS Day, and it wouldn't have really made a difference anyway. But I was not there for all the festivities and the kind of fun that we had planned for that day, though I did sort of plan it. And then a couple of my coworkers graciously stepped in and were at the store on Saturday. So if you were there, I'm sorry I wasn't there, but yeah, most other Saturdays I am. It's kind of an unusual weekend when I'm not at the Knit Circus store on Saturdays. So you can come anytime, really, and say hello. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else was going on this weekend. Yeah, so Saturday we stayed put. Sunday I just had to get out of the house. So my sister was meeting up with one of her friends at the Children's Museum in Madison, which is a really wonderful museum. It's a low cost. It's really fun for kids. Very, it's kind of like a big playground that adds learning into it, which is really cool. Like, kids can just kind of run around. There's different areas of it, and you can run around. All the exhibits are very interactive and child friendly. So, and there's like this huge art room and craft area that they can just like go to town. There was literally a wall where you could take orange paint. There's like this thing of orange paint and a wall, and they could like do whatever they wanted and like throw paint at the wall. And paint it and put their hands on it, whatever. I mean, it was really, really cool. So yeah, I went there. I kind of crashed her friend date, although she invited me, but I still think I have a little bit of like a little sister syndrome where my sister and I are super close. Like, we are best friends. We can read each other's minds. We're 2 years apart, and we grew up doing everything together. We have very similar interests. We just are super close. So growing up, I always wanted to hang out with her and her friends. And for the most part, like, she let me. And so her friends kind of tended to also be, my friends for all intents and purposes. And there's still, though, that feeling that, because there was, inevitably, there's always a time when your big sister doesn't want you to, hang out with her friend or her boyfriend or something. And I was always wanting to be part of the group. So I sort of forced my way in sometimes. And I still think I have that feeling of like, should I really go? Are you sure? Like, you really want me there? I mean, not that she doesn't want me there, but you're not just being nice because you're my big sister. So I got there and I was like, are you sure this is okay? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. The couple that they met up with also have like a 3-year-old, and so him and my nephew are really good friends, and yeah, it was really cute to watch them play, and I had a really good time. I love hanging out with my nephew. So anyway, that's what I did yesterday, and then today has been a really low-key day. I swear I'm going to be talking about knitting in just a second, but let me get some of this chatter out of the way because it's been 3 weeks since I've podcasted, so there's been quite a lot happening. But last night, you guys, the Game of Thrones episode, I'm not going to say anything, just in case you haven't seen it, but that was intense. I really barely watched it. I don't know if I can honestly say that I watched it, because we had it on our large screen TV that's on the wall, and I started out sitting on the couch next to Seaver, and about 5 minutes in, I was planning on just like knitting, like focusing on my knitting, just knitting stockinette. I'll show you what I'm knitting on right now, that I thought I would be fine doing that. And about 5 minutes in, I had to get up and just walk around the apartment. I could not sit still. I felt trapped. And if you watch Game of Thrones and you know about this 8th season so far, you know what that feeling is like. It's like there's no safe space. You feel trapped. You feel like you just need to get out. And I felt that way. So the setup of our apartment, we have like a main room, and the kitchen is there's like a half wall with a counter. If you've watched previous episodes, I used to film a few of them with the kind of kitchen area in the background. So there's like a half wall. Our kitchen is over there. It's kind of separated a little bit from the living space, but basically it's just one big room. And I went into the kitchen part of it, which I couldn't see the TV directly while I was over there, and I just sort of paced up and down. I walked in place. I did a little bit of like, you know how you almost like when you shush a baby, you kind of like rock the baby back and forth. I was kind of like doing that to myself. I'm like, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. There was a couple times where I sat on the floor and sort of rocked back and forth, and Seaver was laughing at me, although he was like, I was kind of also watching him from that area to see his reactions. I would sort of peek around the corner. I was listening the whole time, obviously, so I kind of knew what was going on, but I was like peeking around the corner every so often, but I definitely had sort of like blinders on, because I wouldn't have been able to sit on the couch and just sit through that. So it was an intense episode. It didn't go the way we thought it would, but it was very good. It was a very good episode. I'm kind of looking forward to the next ones, because I don't think they're going to be quite as intense. And the past couple, just the tension, the buildup has been really, really hard, kind of hard to handle. I know this is a TV show, and I was trying to tell myself that it's all, it's all fake. It's all fake, but it's so well done. Oh my God. So anyway, we watched that yesterday. That was crazy. I barely slept last night. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably only got a few hours of sleep. So that is why I think the roundabout way of me telling you that today has been a slow day. I slept in because I didn't sleep well, and I have been drinking coffee. I have knit a little bit. I showered, so that's good, and that's pretty much what my day's been so far, and it's like a little afternoon. So yeah, I need to be a little bit more productive in the second half of my day. So for all of you Game of Thrones people out there, wow, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, shall we move on? I'm just drinking coffee today, like I said. This is in my Great River Shakespeare Festival mug. This festival is held in Winona, Minnesota, and that's where I used to live for almost 10 years. It's where I went to school, and I used to be very, very involved with the Shakespeare Festival because Shakespeare. I was a literature major, so yeah, and also involved in theater for a while in my life. But anyway, yeah, so I have this mug. It makes me happy looking at it. I do get back to the festival. Since moving here 2 years ago, this will be my second full summer here in the Madison area. And last summer I did get back for one performance. So this year I have plans, hopefully going back for a weekend, and I'll get a couple, or did I go to 2? No, just 1, I think. Yeah, but I will hopefully get back for a couple this year. If you're in the area, or if you want to visit a gorgeous town on the Mississippi River that has quite a bit to do, it's growing so much since I left even. There are new restaurants moving in. It was always a very vibrant small town. I would say for a small town, it's very cultural. There's 3 universities, 2 universities and a technical college in Winona, and it's just a gorgeous place. I loved living there, and if that town was closer to our families, and there's a lot more opportunity down here in Madison for Seaver's job, we probably would have stayed for I don't know how long. We both really loved it up there. So if you have the chance to go, please do. It's a great little weekend getaway vacation spot, and there's the Great River Shakespeare Festival, there's the Beethoven Festival over the summer. I think they've been holding it in February, is the Frozen River Film Festival in Winona. There's Boats and Bluegrass Music Festival in September, Midwest Music Festival in the summer, I think that's coming up in May. So, and Midwest Music Fest is in both La Crosse, Wisconsin and Winona. It's over a span of 2 weeks, I think. They do a week or maybe the opening weekend is in La Crosse, and then they have venue space in Winona. I don't know, but there's a lot to see and a lot to do, and it's a really, really cool town. So anyway, I am going to stop talking about things that don't have to do with knitting, which is probably the reason why you came to view my podcast. So first things first, let's talk about this here that I got on around my neck. Like I said, it's a chilly day. It's about 50 degrees, so I feel comfortable in a t-shirt, but I really am enjoying having something around my neck to kind of, I don't know, take the chill out of the air. And I realized that I did not talk about this in the last podcast. I cannot believe I forgot to talk about this. This is my Find Your Fade. And this has been a long time coming, oh my gosh. So I cast this on over 2 years ago. I knit the first like 3 colors, I think, into it, and then I had to set it down for various obligation knitting. Lots of things sort of came into my knitting queue, and this just languished. This just sat in a project bag, and I didn't touch it for almost 2 years. And then this past, when was it? Was it January? I think it was after all of my gift knitting was done for Christmas. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna at least finish one of my large languishing whips. I have another one, which is the Building Block Shawl by Stephen West, which I desperately want to get done too. But I had 2 large shawl projects that were just sitting there. For that one's gonna be about 2 years as well, I think. Maybe, oh God, is it gonna be 3 this October? Could be. Oh my gosh, I need to get back at that. But I thought I could just knock this one out. And I really enjoyed knitting it. And you guys, I love wearing this shawl. This has become my absolute favorite accessory. And I was worried that it would be too big. I've heard from multiple people just about how it's cumbersome, these pretty huge shawls, just like it's too much, especially if you're a small person, which I am. I was worried it was going to be just really, I don't know, just too big for me to wear. And the moment I put it on, it takes a little bit to figure out how exactly you're going to wrap it, but I figured out a way that works really good for me, and I just love it. I've worn this more in the last probably 2 months when it's been cool. March it was really cold for a while, and then a few days here in April have been pretty cold. So I have been able to wear it a few times, and I just love it. I love it so much, so much. So I am not going to take it off because it just takes too long to arrange. But I'll kind of tell you about some of the yarns. I have quite a few yarns in here from my very good friend Lisa of Abacus Dye Works. The second and third color are hers. And then this last color, which I don't know how much of this one you guys saw, but this last color here is hers, and I absolutely love this color. I have so much of this left. I'm really, really happy because I loved knitting with this. And then this one before it, which it's a pretty, here, let me scoot up. I'm gonna get real close to the camera, sorry guys. So this one right here, it's a pretty good fade because it fades right here, and then this last section, this garter section, is just that like blue and turquoise and orange color. But this one here was a sock blank that she dyed. And so I have four I have four Abacus Dye Works yarns in this shawl. I have one from Spun Right Round, which is this one right there. And then I have this one from Darn Yarn, Minnesota. And that was a sock blank as well. And then I have, oh, it's like starting to, it's so heavy, it just like drapes. I have one at the very beginning, which is this one. This was from a hand dyer somewhere in Europe, I can't remember. It was so long ago that I got this yarn. I knit a pair of socks out of this when the Winter Olympics were being held in Russia. So that was at least, what, like 6 years ago? Something like that. And I had ordered it like 6 months before that. So I had this yarn for a long time, and it just melded really, really well with the second color. You can't really see that too well. Let me just, yeah, this is the hard part about showing a gigantic shawl that's like on your body. That's not it. That's the third color. Okay, anyway, you guys kind of saw it the last few episodes, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. But yeah, so like I said, I love this. I'm so glad I finished it, and I'm like, there's a very small part of me that's tempted to knit another one. I know, don't yell at me, don't yell at me. I don't have plans. I don't have immediate plans to cast one on, but I love wearing it so much that I at least want to knit like shawls more like this, like larger and longer, because I love the way it fits. I don't have to worry about it staying on. It just sort of drapes, and it's warm and smushy, and so good. Okay. I promise I'm fine. I promise I'm fine. All right. Enough about that. Let's move on to some works in progress. I have 2 brand new works in progress to show you because the other things I've been working on have moved into a different category, which I'm very happy about, and I'll show those to you in a second. The first one I'm knitting is again out of my Daisy Girl bag. I had to get this one back out. I think I had my shawl design that just came out this past Saturday. I had that stored in here and showed this bag to you in the last episode, but I had to put this new project in there too because this is going to be a baby gift for my sister's college roommate. And it's really funny that I just got done talking about the like the little sister syndrome kind of thing that I have, because my sister and I went to the same college, but I'm obviously 2 years younger. So she was in an apartment with her roommate while I was a freshman in the dorms. And when I didn't want to be in the dorms, I would go over and I would stay at my sister's, or I would just go hang out on the weekends or whatever. So I did get to know her roommate, Nicole, very well. And Nicole kind of became one of my friends as well during our college years. So I wanted to make something for her because she's having a baby girl in June. So not too long from now. And I was looking at some fun girl knits because I have a 3-year-old nephew. I have a 3-year-old godson. And I haven't been able to knit baby girl things because 2 of my college best friends both had boys in the last like year and a half. They're both turned 1 somewhat recently. And I haven't been able to knit for a baby girl in a long time. So I was kind of just out there looking at some cute things that, you know, were very girly because I was just kind of in the mood for that. And I stumbled across this designer that has some beautiful designs, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to butcher this name, but it's Tega Hilliard. I'll just put, it's not on the front page, which I wish it would have been, but I'll just put that. Oh boy, you probably can't even see that. I don't want to show any of the pattern. Sorry, this is really awkward. So that's her name there. Tega Hilliard Designs, and she has some beautiful things. One of them that caught my eye was it was a different one out of a worsted weight, but I didn't want to knit out of a worsted weight. I had this really pretty skein of fingering weight in my stash, and the baby's going to be born in June. And I kind of wanted to knit something lightweight because what I'm knitting are this really sweet dress. And the other pattern out of a worsted weight was a very similar design, only it had some like lace detailing in the skirt as well. But I thought that would be a little bit too warm possibly for for summertime. As she's, growing into this, it's going to be further and further into the summer. So I didn't want to have anything too warm. And I had this really, really sweet yellowy pink. It's very subtle, but it's a light pink with yellow and some like spots of, I think I saw them right when I showed you, some spots of like this ochre color that's coming through. Yeah, you can see it here as well. So this is a colorway by Knit Circus, and this is one of our kind of semi-solid, but I think it's technically called a hand paint on our website, but this is called Sunshine on My Shoulders. And this is actually out of a new, oh man, am I even supposed to tell you about this? I think I can. I think it's a done deal. But we are trying to kind of diversify the bases, the yarn bases that we're carrying, and we are actually getting a BFL and nylon base. And they kind of tested out a few colors on some sample skeins. This was a sample skein, so I got to test this out for them, for us. I guess I'm part of the company, so. And I love knitting with this. It's so soft. It's a little fuzzy because BFL, is a little hardier of a wool than a merino, but it's still so soft to the touch. I have no qualms about giving this to a baby. It's so sweet. It's knitting up just beautifully. I mean, look at that lace. It looks a little funny right now because it's all like scrunched up on my needles, and the skirt looks really, really wide, but once this kind of gets pulled down, the sleeves will get blocked out. The shaping will make more sense. So this is that there, and then the back has just a nice split in the center. And I'm going to put buttons there, obviously, so it'll be really easy to pull on and off. The skirt can be as long as you want it to be. I'll probably make it a good length because, I don't know, I think that's cute to have kind of a longer skirt. And she'll just be able to wear that without any like leggings or anything underneath it because it'll be summertime. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that knit. This was going to be my Game of Thrones knitting because right now all I'm doing is knitting in the round, and then every so often I have, like every inch and a half, I have a couple of increases that I'm doing. So very easy knitting, but I couldn't even handle doing this during Game of Thrones, so it was intense if that's the case. So keep an eye out if you are interested in the Knit Circus BFL base that will be, I think, released sometime in June. We haven't even really started dyeing any of our colorways up on it yet, so yeah, it's definitely a slow process when you introduce a new base, but it is really, really great to knit with. So the next thing that I'm working on is, again, yarn from Stash, because you guys, I've been so good. So good. You'll be so proud of me. I've barely bought yarn since I talked to you the last time. So this is deep, deep Stash. I've had this yarn for probably 4-ish years, 5 years possibly. I was trying to remember when I actually got this yarn, and I can't remember because it was a gift, so that's why I'm not too sure. But this isn't it beautiful? This is Jill Draper Riften. I don't even know if she dyes this anymore or makes this, but it's like a sport DK weight. It's 600 yards, and it's a single ply, as you can see. And I have just been really, really wanting, for the longest time, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this. It's really special to me because I had seen this on her website when she was first coming out with these homegrown kind of gradient yarns, and I wanted one so badly, but they were kind of expensive and I didn't want to order one online, and I, just one thing or another, I didn't buy one. And my really good friend Kelly, who is one of the owners of Yarnology up in Winona, Minnesota, which is where I worked for a really, really long time, she came back from a show one time. She works for Vogue as well for their event team, so she's on the staff during like Vogue Knitting Live New York. She goes to usually the one out west, and then the one in the Midwest. So and they do them in various places, but the past few years they've done one in Minneapolis and Chicago, and she's always gone to those. So anyway, and she always goes to the New York one. So she came back, I think, from the New York festival or the New York show one time many years ago, and she had got me a cake of Riften, and it was such a surprise, and it was such an amazing gift because she knew I had just been drooling over this yarn for the longest time. And yeah, so it's been in my stash for years, just waiting for a special project. And I kind of decided a little bit ago, I decided that I wanted to design something with this yarn. And the rustic quality of it, it's just 100% wool, homegrown wool. So I think it's just like a combination of breeds put together. It is really soft, but it's definitely like a rustic wool, though it's really springy, and I don't think I'd have a problem with this like next to my neck. So I'm designing a shawl. I've really been into shawl design lately. I have a lot of ideas I'm really excited about, and this was one of them. I just decided on, I think it was Saturday night, I just needed to cast this on. I had the kind of the vision in my head where I wanted it to go, and I was itching to cast it on. So I did. And I'm not sure how much I will show you. I think I'm going to show you what the stockinette section looks like, just how it looks knit up. So it's just kind of a rustic woolly yarn. Again, like I said, it's a single ply, kind of thick and thin in some areas, but not too bad, and kind of, bouncy as a single ply 100% wool would be. And I'm not going to tell you too much about this except to say it has some inspiration from, what was that one Jared Flood wrap? There was a Jared Flood wrap that had sections of texture. Guernsey wrap. It's the Guernsey wrap. It's nothing like the Guernsey wrap in a way, but it was kind of inspired by that sort of sampler of textured stitches, and just kind of going through, I don't know, kind of a repeat of sections of texture. And I wanted to experiment with some texture stitches and just sort of put that together in a really fun asymmetrical shawl. So that's what I'm doing. I'm really, really loving it. I did another section of it this morning, and I love it even more. I'm really having a lot of fun knitting it, and I can't wait for you to see it. And I think I'm coming on to my first change in color. I've been doing the brown natural color, and now it's moving into the dark blue. So I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to see how that kind of looks as the texture changes and the colors will change. I'm just really excited. So keep your eye out for that. I have no idea what it's going to be called. Again, I just started it Saturday, so it's going to be a while before it's out there in the world. But it's fun. It's pretty fun. Okay, my next finished object, that was a work in progress. My first finished object that I'm going to show you is, I think, yeah, you've seen me work on two of these, and then there's one that I knit, that I didn't even get to show you as a work in progress. So the first one I'll show you is because there's two of them. These are my brand new sock pattern. This is called Heading West, and it is done out of the Knit Circus Yarns I can't talk. Sagebrush Cowgirl gradient yarn. And you can see there how the color changes. I absolutely love this colorway, and I'm so happy that I finally got to use this. This has been in my stash since I started working at Knit Circus. So that was about 1.5 years ago. And yeah, this pattern had been in my head for a while. And I didn't realize at first that I wanted to knit it out of this gradient yarn, but it just sort of all clicked. It all came together. And I really, really like the way it turned out. So I'm gonna take one off the sock blocker. Oh, this is out of our Greatest of Ease base, which is merino and nylon. And we do sock sets out of the gradient yarn so that your socks will match perfectly. Unless you mess up and knit one sock smaller than the other one, which is what I did because I wasn't paying attention. But that's okay, because they're for me. The stitch pattern is the same on them, so I'm pretty confident with that. I just put the heel in sooner on one of them than I did on the other, and I don't know why I did that. So this is a textured sock. I think you can see it best on this like light brown beigey color, but there's a cable that runs down the middle. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see in this light, but there's a stretched cable. It runs down the middle, and then there are these sort of 1x1. This is like a slip stitch, and then it's like cabled one way and the other. For those of you who have seen my Ode to Autumn shawl, which is a design I did, it's a very similar kind of texture to that one. And I just really loved that stitch on that shawl, so I wanted to implement it somewhere else. So it's very similar, but a little different. And it's on this side and the opposite. It's kind of like opposite on one side versus the other. And yeah. So that's the Heading West socks. This one is going to be released. I haven't chosen a date because I still have to send it out to some test knitters. I have a couple of people who have volunteered to test knit this one. I'm probably not gonna get, usually I get like 4 or 5 people to test knit. I only have 2 right now, and I'm kind of okay with that because, I don't know, I just kind of want them tested, finished, done, and so I can get the pattern out. I kind of took my time on this one. I was really focused on the shawl pattern that I've released recently, that this sort of got put on the back burner, and I finished them like 2 weeks ago. I just blocked them a couple of days ago, and I didn't even contact or ask anyone about test knitting until like yesterday. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like they just need to go out into the world at this point. So yeah, I messaged one of my friends. I'm like, hey, can you test knit? You've done it before. Like, I trust you. And she's like, yep, sure, send it over. So, and then I have somebody else who saw them when I was in the process of them. And like, I don't want to say she begged me, but she just was like, do you need to test knit her? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, me. And I'm like, okay. So I have to send it to her still. But yeah, hopefully those will be out in a few weeks, and I'll definitely let you know about that when they do go out. So I guess this would be a good transition to now talk about the shawl that I just released on. I actually released it last Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. I actually put it on Ravelry, but it's big release, like the grand, do they have like you know how stores have like soft openings and then have like the grand opening? That's what I kind of feel like this shawl had. So it had its soft release last week, like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the grand release was on Saturday, April 27th, which was LYS Day. And the reason for that is that I was offering this pattern for free on LYS Day only. Sorry guys, I should have been on here earlier to talk about that, but hopefully you saw it on my Instagram, on Knit Circus's Instagram, on Ravelry itself, and you were able to get a copy of it. It's still on Ravelry, it just isn't free anymore. So it's a pay-for pattern at this point. But I knit a fun asymmetrical shawl out of Knit Circus's brand new colorway that they dyed for LYS Day, and it was really fun. It has some textured sections. It has a couple lace sections that sort of get larger as you go up. It was really, really fun to knit, and I'm pretty proud of it. I just have to tell you, I was absolutely blown away and completely gobsmacked by the reception that this shawl got. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen me sort of updating my stories and my Instagram posts, because when I released it originally, when I put it on Ravelry Tuesday, I was so surprised that it was getting so many favorites that it was on the front page of Ravelry, page 1. I've never had a pattern on page 1 of Ravelry before, and it was like, I don't know, 15th or something, or 12th or something like that. Then later on in the day, or the next day or something, it was getting even more, and it was, I got a kick out of it because it was side by side with Andrea Mowry's new sweater pattern. So I took a screenshot of that, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys, my brand new pattern is like neck and neck, not that it's a competition, it was right next to an Andrea Mowry pattern, which she's like one of the most famous and loved knitwear designers like out there right now. So that was just surreal. And then the next day, I think by Friday, it had gotten up to number like 5 or 6 on Ravelry, or maybe it was number 3 at that point on Friday, and I just could not believe it. I thought it was, okay, the first day it was on page 1, like that's awesome. But to be number 3 overall on Ravelry was crazy. Then I wake up on Saturday. You guys, I had the number 1 pattern on Ravelry for like an entire day. The entire day on Saturday it was number 1, and I could not believe it. I cannot tell you how excited and proud and just, like I said, I was blown away by how many people commented on it, how many people downloaded it. I'm speechless. I'm just so happy that everybody seemed to love it. People were excited to cast on. There was an issue with the pattern. I had to get the pattern updated by our tech editor because there was some confusion and I didn't catch it, but the pattern numbers and the pattern was a little off. So I sent out the updated version of it yesterday. Thank goodness we were able to correct that really fast because there was so many people that downloaded it. I'm like, I don't need this many people coming after me about a pattern mistake. So we got that corrected really fast and sent out. So if you did download a pattern on Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and you didn't update it yet, be sure to do that. Yeah, so then Sunday, I was just so elated by the reception that I got that I decided to keep it going, and I put the pattern up for 50% off because I'm like, you know, if you missed out on Saturday, some people weren't maybe able to get on Ravelry. I still wanted people to get like a deal with this pattern, so I put it for 50% off. A lot of people took advantage of that too, and yeah, now it's on Ravelry as a shawl. You can buy it anytime. Hopefully some of you did get a chance to get the free copy and you are excited to cast on. I don't know. I kind of want to do, maybe we should do a knit along. I've been wanting to do a knit along for my Ode to Autumn shawl, but I think that that's going to be better later on in the summer because it's a like summer, fall, early fall, because it's a thicker yarn. It's a DK weight. And to kind of like celebrate autumn, maybe that would be fun to do it then. But we could do a show some love. That's what it's called. Oh my gosh, I didn't even say what the pattern name was. Oh, I'm such a, yeah. I was gonna say I'm a rookie, but guys, this is the 79th episode, so I should have my crap together. Anyway, the pattern, the shawl is called Show Some Love. Like I said, it was dedicated to all those amazing local yarn stores out there for LYS Day. And if you guys want to do a knit along with the Show Some Love pattern, just let me know. We can get something going for that because I'm just so excited about this. And I'll put in some pictures. Maybe, I'm not sure if I'll do that now or earlier when I started talking about it. So, but thank you to everybody who showed support, who commented, who messaged me, who downloaded the pattern or bought the pattern. If you bought it before Saturday, there were some people who I think very generously, you know, paid for the pattern even though I had it posted that it was going to be free on April 27th. And that to me is just, that's really nice because it was a gift. It was, and it was meant to be a gift, but at the same time, I did put a lot of work into this. And for those of you who decided to sort of value that, and you bought it even though you knew it was going to be free, I just think that's really cool. So thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to start crying because I love doing this. This is my calling, as cheesy as that sounds. I love knitting and I'm loving designing more and more. And yeah. That makes my heart get all warm and fuzzy. Okay, let's move on from that because I still have more to show you. Sorry, as I'm like fixing my bra strap here. I have more to show you and I'm already at 50 minutes almost. So let's crack on. I have a couple more finished objects, believe it or not. The past 3 weeks have been just like, I've been knitting up storm, but yeah, this one, both of these actually are both gifts, and I was supposed to have them already given to the recipients, but we had to cancel our get-together. So you guys will recognize this. This is the sweater that I've been knitting for my godson. It's called the Anchor Jacket, and it's by Petite Knit. This is the 4-year-old size. I knit it a little bit bigger than his size because I want it to fit him into next fall. So yeah. So that's that one, and it's really fun. It's a gender neutral pattern. I will definitely be knitting this one again. I have to put the buttons on it still. I've been procrastinating on that. I have them, and I was going to do it really fast Friday night before seeing them Saturday, but then we had this news of the snowstorm, and I got ornery, and I was just like, meh, I don't want to sew on buttons if I'm not even going to see them. Yeah, I was really disappointed that we couldn't go. So yeah, I still have to put the buttons on it, but it's blocked and it's good. It knit up really quick and it was fun. Like I said, it's a worsted weight sweater. It's knit out of Barocco Vintage. I'm not 100% sure on the colorway number. It didn't have a name on the tag, so it would just be a number, but it's just kind of a, I don't know, it reminds me of like foresty green, lumberjack green. So yeah, and it's kind of dark, and it kind of gets, that's pretty accurate, I'd say. Maybe it's a little more blue in the camera than it actually is. But yeah, so I finished that. Almost. Got to put the buttons on, but that's okay. That'll only take a second. This next finished object was new. I just cast this on actually a week ago Saturday. It was the Saturday of Easter. And I wanted to knit so this is for my godson, like I said, which is my cousin's youngest son. And his sister, Lena, who just turned 8 in April, she, obviously, she also had a birthday. His birthday was end of March. Her birthday was April, but I haven't seen them, actually, I think, since Christmas. But yeah, I wanted to give her something too, and that family is so knitworthy. I think I've said this a million times, but yeah, they love hand knits. They wear them, they appreciate them, they get excited about them. So I love knitting things for her children. So Lena is a colorful, vibrant, unique, wonderful little girl. She is totally girly girl, but then at the same time, she's like, I don't know, she's so cool. I've talked about her before on here. She's like, wants rainbow and unicorns, but then she wants to like play like ninja warrior. So, you know, she's just really cool. So, I wanted to knit, and she's really artistic too. So that's kind of where like the color, she just loves color. So I had this skein that Earth Yarns sent me, and this is out of their unique worsted, I think. It's a self-striping worsted weight yarn, and it's 100% superwash merino, and I don't wear these colors. Like, look how fun and bright that is. And I kind of knew that I wouldn't knit anything for myself or really too many people that I knew, because it's just so loud. But the moment I saw this skein, I did think, wow, I bet Lena would really, really like this. So, oh, sorry. I'm getting like a dry throat. I better drink more coffee. Which has gone cold because it's been sitting there for 45 minutes. Whew. Yeah, I kind of pegged this as Lena's yarn since I got that yarn. And this, I wish I knew where the pattern was. I have no idea where I put it. But it's called the Lac Lamande hat. And if you search for that on Ravelry, or go to my project page on Ravelry, and you'll be able to like link up to the actual pattern. I can't remember who designed this, but I love this motif right here. It is harder to see, especially on the camera because of the striping yarn, but these are like cables that go up the hat, and it's all done with twisted stitches, twisted knits. So it just has this really cool texture, and these are all twisted knits as well. I did change this a little bit. I changed the crown shaping because they wanted you to, after the cable section, they wanted you to change starting here all the way around and up. They wanted a 2x2 plain rib that kind of mirrors this 2x2 plain rib on the brim. And I just thought that was kind of an odd break from the 1x1, so this is the back, the 1x1 twisted rib that I was doing. I didn't want it to just like start here with 2x2, I don't know. So I just kept doing 1x1. And this here was kind of a 2x2 anyway. Like it ended up being a 2x2 after doing these cables. So I kept that, and then I did a 1x1 all the way around. And then I did follow the crown decreases, but it didn't, like, instead of following like the 2x2 kind of instructions, I just did, if it was like a purl, I would purl them together, I would knit them together through the back loop. I don't think it really looks too weird. I was kind of worried that it would, but I think it's fine. I don't think anyone would notice. So yeah, that's how I changed it. If that made sense to you, I'm glad. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I don't know how better to explain it. But this is a really, really fun hat, and it just took one skein of worsted. I have some left over. I was a little disappointed. The end of this skein of yarn was like a dark, like purpley indigo, darker even than this at the top. And I didn't get a chance to like get into that color, and I was kind of disappointed, but I already made it longer. That's something else that I did. I knit the brim a little bit longer because I did the medium size hat, but I knit the brim longer, and I think I knit the before doing the decreases, I knit that a tiny bit, maybe only like 2 or 3 rows longer. So I wanted it to be kind of more of a slouchy hat. And this will fit Lena like forever, I think. This is pretty much an adult size hat. She'll grow into it. Right now it'll be like a really super slouchy, artsy hat. And then as she gets a little bit older, I don't know how much kids' heads grow. Like at what point a kid's head is like the same size as an adult head. Do you know what I mean? Because it doesn't seem like children who are like 10 or 11, it doesn't seem like they have that much smaller of a head than an adult would. But anyway, I just played it safe. I didn't do a children's size. I did the adult medium size, and I think it turned out fantastic. So yeah, those are all of my finished objects. Yeah, that was a bit. That was quite a bit. I do have a couple of things to show you as stash acquisitions. It's kind of funny. I feel like I haven't bought yarn in so long, which I haven't. Oh, my light just went out. I haven't really, but it's been so many weeks since I've podcasted that I haven't been able to show you a couple of things. And then the first... Oh, my light keeps going out. Okay guys, sorry, my light keeps going out, so we're just gonna power through with a little bit of lower light right now. It'll only be a few minutes though, because I just have a couple more things to show you. The first one that I have to show you though is a mini skein set that I think I got before my last podcast, but I forgot to show it to you. So this is, sorry, crinkling, I'm gonna open it up. Actually, let me show it to you like this first. I have opened this and put it back in the packaging, but this was a kind of 1-month club that I signed up for from Molly of a Homespun House. Lately, she's been doing clubs that I just haven't been able to resist, so I got her, what was it, the Little House, or the Long Winter Club from Little House on the Prairie. I got that one, and then right after that one, she announced she was doing a Little Women Club, and I'm like, what? So of course I had to order that too. So these are 5 20-gram minis. They each have 100 yards on them, and they're each Little Women themed. So this one is called Coffee Over Compliments. Beautiful. Yeah, and I chose the mini skein set. You could get a sock set or a full just 100-gram skein. This one's called Lori and Joe. Kind of a purpley, beautiful color there. This one is Little Women, so I think this is the skein that went out like with the sock set, or if you just ordered 100-gram, I'm pretty sure that was that one. Some pretty colors. Oh, come on, light. You gotta recharge it. This is called Strong and Wild. And this is called Marmy. Okay, once more. There we go. Just so you can get a glimpse of that color. So that's really pretty. I have a fun idea that I want to do for these. I'm really, really excited about it, and it is kind of Little Women themed, so I think it's gonna be think it's gonna be really fun. But yeah, I had forgotten to show those to you, or maybe it hadn't come yet in the mail, but I'm pretty sure it had. I don't remember. Either way, I hadn't shown these to you yet, so I thought I would do that on today's episode. And then the next thing I have to show you is the trunk show that we currently have. It's only going to be there for another like 2 days, but this is the amazing hand-dyed yarn from Plank and Stella, which is a indie dyer. Melissa, she's an indie dyer in Indianapolis, Indiana. An indie dyer from Indianapolis, Indiana. Wow. Isn't that funny? Okay, so this is a beautiful skein. All right, let's get the light on here really quick. This is called Autumn Crisp. Totally my colors. Look at that. The moment I saw this, I knew this was coming home with me. This is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon. It has 463 yards, 100 grams, and look at that adorable logo. So cute. So yes, I had to get a skein of this. This is probably going to be some autumn autumnal socks this upcoming fall time. I can't wait for that. And then of course I had to get one of these. I think I posted about these like 6 times on the Knit Circus Instagram and then possibly on my own, I'm pretty sure. But Melissa was so sweet. Amazing. We didn't even ask her to dye these up, but she dyed up a special colorway that says KC Wisconsin, or WI, so Knit Circus in Wisconsin, and it is our own colorway. This is based on our logo colors. We have like a bright teal, turquoise, and a hot pink that we have in our logo, and she dyed up a bunch of these mini skeins and sent them along. And so I had to get one. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. It seems a shame to just use a part of it and put it in my cozy memory blanket. But maybe I can find, I don't know, maybe I can find a project to put it in with. Maybe I'll do like a solid for for socks. I'll use this for heels and toes. And then find a solid, like maybe a teal or something like that, because it would kind of be fun to have a speckly, like variegated heel, toe, and cuff combo, and then a solid, like body of the sock. I know people have done that before, but I personally haven't yet, but I think that would be really, really fun. So that is all that I've gotten in the last 3 weeks. I'm hoping to keep that up, but I know that I'm gonna have to at least get one thing here in the next month, because Knit Circus is very, very happy to be hosting a trunk show with the Woolen Homestead, which is Tiffany and Ethan. They have a podcast on YouTube, or they used to. I'm not sure if they're continuing with it. I know that they're taking a break from dyeing for a while, so that's why this is really, really special. They are sending over a bunch of beautiful yarn for us to carry for a month. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get their hand-dyed yarn anymore. They are kind of moving on with careers and life, and it's just not really working out right now, I think, to dedicate that much time to the dyeing business, even though I think they both really love it. But I think, you know, it sounds like it's time for kind of a break, or at least to just take a step back for them. So while I'm really excited for them in their next stages of life, I am kind of sad that they're not going to be dyeing yarn and podcasting as frequently as they used to. So you guys are loved, and you will be missed if you I know that they have a YouTube live that they did recently that I still have to watch, which is exciting. So hopefully they continue just popping in there every so often and updating us on what's going on. And there are a couple that I always have thought that we're very similar. Tiffany and I seem to be very similar in our likes and dislikes and our interests. And Ethan, which is her husband, and my husband Seaver have a lot of similarities. So I've always kind of thought like we would be friends in real life if we ever got to meet. But yeah, so I just look forward to getting updates on what they're up to. And yeah, until then, hopefully get some yarn of theirs while I still can. So if you're in the area, if you're in the Madison area or going to be driving through the month of May, we will be hosting the Woolen Homestead. So be sure to check that out. Yeah, I think that is about it. My legs are starting to get a little tired here, sitting on the floor for the last hour and 8 minutes. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get going. I have to run to the post office and the grocery store, and then hopefully I'm gonna get a good chunk of knitting done. I didn't get as much done over the weekend as I would have thought or hoped, so maybe later today I'll dedicate a couple hours. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I love you all so much, and I appreciate your support. I appreciate your interactions on YouTube here and on Instagram. Come find me, come follow me. I love chatting with people and just interacting with all of you guys. If you are a new viewer and you're just checking out my podcast for the first time, thank you so much. It was a bit of a long one today, and I try not to take 3 weeks in between podcast episodes, although lately that seems to be the schedule. I prefer doing every other week, but sometimes life just gets in the way. So we're just gonna take them as they come, I guess, and record them when I'm able. So thank you so much for checking out the podcast. If you did like it, you can give it a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. That just kind of gets my podcast out there to the rest of the world. So I really would appreciate it if you could do that. Go check out my patterns on Ravelry. Thank you to everybody who sent well wishes and downloaded the Show Some Love pattern on Saturday. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll get a couple more patterns out there for you guys soon. Otherwise, have a great week. It's Monday, so you've got a little bit of the work week left, but hopefully you are able to find time to do things that make your heart happy. I hope you're doing the same. Be kind to one another, and I love you all. Bye.